All right, let's do the midpoint formula. Let's talk about the midpoint formula. So before we do that, one thing I do want to let you know is notation on distance when we talk about distance. So we can denote the distance between 2 points either by just writing the 2 letters for each point consecutively together, or we could write it this way with the lowercase d for distance of, well, we could do QP or PQ. P comma Q, okay? Or sometimes we put a line segment bar, you saw me do that. But again, a lot of times we just, because this represents the line segment, PQ, but sometimes we draw the actual symbol of a line segment above it, okay? But that's how we denote distance between 2 points, okay? Now, the midpoint formula, if we have 2 points, right? Let's say here and here, and we've got x1 comma y1, and we've got x2 comma y2, okay? And we want to find the midpoint, right? We want to find the midpoint right in the middle between the two. Well, what we're actually going to do is find the midpoint along the vertical, or excuse me, the horizontal distance, and the midpoint along the vertical distance. So if we can find the midpoint here, and we find the midpoint here, that will give us the midpoint between the 2 points, because we'll end up with a smaller triangle here. Okay, so how do we get the midpoint formula then? Well, we're going to find the midpoint of this, and we're going to find the midpoint of that, and that's going to give us our 2 coordinates for the midpoint. Now, so it's not one number, it's a point. So there's an x coordinate and a y coordinate that tells us where the midpoint is located. So M, which we're going to use for midpoint, is going to be a coordinate. The first coordinate, the x coordinate, is going to be the midpoint of the x's. So that's going to be the midpoint formula, which is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So we're just taking the average of both x coordinates. And then comma, right? Now for the y coordinate for the midpoint, it's going to be y1 plus y2 divided by 2. And that is the midpoint formula. Okay? Just make sure you understand that it's a point, not just one number.